Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the YouTube account and got a lot of requests to break down the Isle of Gold. So I want to check this out. I was going in here just really farming this. Now there's a couple different ways that you can do the Isle of Gold and how you can play the Isle of Gold. Now you can go on the offensive, you can go on the defensive, or you can do both of those. Now, regardless of what you do, usually the loot tables are relatively the same. This is, I think, about the fifth or sixth iteration that we've done of the Isle of Gold. And I want to break this down and show you exactly what the buildings look like. Now in here, you can see we get a lot of resources. I have diamonds, I have poke coins, I have essence. I also do have my arcane labyrinth tokens. Super imperative. This is what we're looking for building out of here. Now, again, there are a few different ways and I'm going to show you how I do this. So one of the most important buildings within this game mode is right here. It is the Fountain of Blessing. Now, you either have a Fountain of Blessing and then there is a secondary building, but the Fountain of Blessing is a defensive building that allows you to prosper. Now, with the prosper, you actually get a much higher return with your buildings and with your defensive structures versus going the other one, and I forget the name of it right now. We'll take a look at it though. When it comes to the other side of it, it's the attacking building. So they kind of divided this into two different parts, but looking in here and going into the individual ones, and I don't know why, last time we did this, you can see that we just collected our loot. Then I click a building, it collects the loot again, and then you'll notice all the buildings now, all four of the resource buildings are now on cooldown. Now you also notice down here that every 6 rolls, we do get every 6 rolls, I believe it's 4 hours. It's either 4 hours or 6 hours that we get the rolls. So when you're coming in here, there is going to be a time you're going to go in, and what I do personally, and again, looking at the buildings, is you can see that we have these gaps. I have these empty spots where I do not have anything built. That is by design. What I want to do is my resource buildings, and then also right here with our energy towers, we want to overbuild them. Now, the max level you can get within the Isle of Gold is level 30 on a building. So getting our Prosper building, for instance, up to level 30 is going to be the absolute priority because, of course, you're going to max the resource generation that you get out of here. And I do go defensive. You can see my pillage attempts down here. I have 3 of 2. I have the ability to pillage other players. I do it every now and then. I don't do it on a regular basis. I'm more of a passive player when it comes to this game mode. But overall, with the rolls, you want to make sure, again, that you're getting some of the additional buildings like the stables, dice rolls +2. This used to be +3, so they did kind of nerf this a little bit. Now you can see that we have 1 of 2 areas we can build. So that just added 2 levels, which essentially, looking at our Prosper, our resources right here, but that did gain 2 levels, as you've seen. So 20 more labyrinth tokens per hour for the entire event, which again is kind of crazy when you think. And you also notice here, Prosper yields 63.2 up to 8 stacks. The higher that we're building up this Prosper, the better these buildings are going to perform, which is the reason why we really do want to build them. Now, the important things with these upgrading the buildings with the energy towers is it raises the levels of the buildings around it. So since I finally have this up to 5, this is the point where I'll modify. I will change out my formation in here to put my resource buildings around these energy towers, because the energy towers, of course, are going to yield some additional resources. Now, if we hit this gap right over here, you'll notice I also do have an energy flower. I have a prayer flower. The red flower I'm actually going to build right in this slot. So again, we're going to have to move around some of these buildings based on where we're at and where we're essentially at for the resource generation. I usually put the resource generation on the back. Now, you also notice that I don't have any of our defensive buildings. So let's run through this and kind of show you how I broke it down. So resource building, we have the essence mine. This is huge. When you think about campaign progression, tower progression, you're going to need essence forever. There is not a point you're not going to need essence. There is a point where you no longer use the experience you're going to have and be overflowing with so much experience. Maybe early game this would make sense, but honestly, I would get the essence mine over the experience mine every single day. Then we look at the diamond mine. This is another one. I do have the diamond mine. Now, when we think of diamonds in general, pretty much everything in AFK Arena is driven by it. When you're looking at your summons, when you're looking at your celestials and your hypos, even your draconic heroes, it is going to be diamonds that you're going to use to acquire all of those heroes. Really big important part. Now, Labyrinth Exchange, this is another one. When you think of resource generation, thinking of your engraving mats, thinking of your red chests, your dimensional heroes, your space emblems, everything is going to be pulled out of the Labyrinth tokens, making it imperative to get those Labyrinth tokens. Now, the Guild Exchange is the other one, but I focused on and I got the Poe coins. Reason being, when it comes to Poe coins, there is no point in AFK Arena that you are not going to have a use for Poe coins. Every hero that is coming up, including Scion, we know Helion is coming as the next hero. Poe coins you are going to need forever, even if you're overbuilding past that 9 of 9 furniture. Poe coins you are going to need and really have to have a greater income forever. You are going to use them. Then the Guild Exchange, I know in here, through fighting Riz and Soren, you do generate enough of the guild coins to really use them. Maybe again, if you're earlier game and you're looking to build out Hildwyn, or you're looking at Eugene, would it make sense? But getting the insignias, also getting your time emblems out of there, very, very important. But you do generate enough resources to get all of those if you're starting to do damage within the bosses. Not a huge drive for the Guild Exchange because, again, I always generate enough resources within the guild aspect, unless you're looking for gear. That is one of the caveats, is if you're looking for gear, it might make sense to get the copies so you have the ability to get some of the dimensional gear. But again, gear at a point really doesn't have a lot of effectiveness. I would much rather have the furniture through the Poe coins than have the gear on a hero itself. Now, defensive building, like we were saying, these first three are very defensive buildings. I do not want to build them. Now, the logic behind that is I don't want to level them up. Again, I want to focus my entirety and I want to focus everything on building up the resource building, not really the curses. Now in here, we do have the prayer flowers. When I go ahead and pillage, these are going to make a big difference on the prayer flowers. Then we have the Fountain of War and the Fountain of Blessing. Like I said, I built the Fountain of Blessing, increasing the prosper. This is going to increase the morale. Morale is built and used. If you're pillaging loot, you get more pillaging loot. So like I said earlier, you can do the attack side of the Isle of Gold. You can do the defensive side of the Isle of Gold. It's very hard to do both or do both incredibly well. Then, of course, we have the towers down here. Reduces prosper loss by surrounding buildings. Now, this one is pretty good. But again, I want to make sure at this point that we have the ability to build out the towers. That is the reason why I built some of the energy towers. Radiant towers, I'll build a little bit, or these will be kind of the buildings that are going to fill in my extra slots. But also remember, these have to be around the buildings, meaning that you can either put the energy tower or you can do the radiation tower. If you do the radiation tower, you're going to have too many towers essentially built around where you're at. And again, looking at the adjacent buildings, it doesn't have a huge impact versus having the buildings much higher. If you do get them at a higher level, let's say you're getting the buildings all up to 30, this might make sense overall. And then of course they lose morale rate here with the Omnius Tower. But again, we want to build and we want to focus on the ones that we're using right now. So again, energy building, I'm going to go ahead and level up. Now we're coming up to the row that we want to focus on, building up the Poe Exchange, building up our Prosper Tower. Always try to land on that one. Unfortunately, this time we did not, but there we go. And we're going to go through here again, focusing on, and that's why I'm minimizing the buildings that we're using in here, is we want to try to build these up as fast as possible, getting the yield as high as possible. And then, of course, if you're going in here and you're doing the rolls, if you really want to be kind of dynamic with it, you could go in here, you could move all of your buildings around, right around these energy towers now that I have it built, leaving the rest of it essentially empty to a point that you could build up, again, a lot of these places, and it would make a big difference. Now, Diamond Mine, this one, of course, randomly levels it up, but there is Prosper limit up to level 4. Important to, again, build out the Fountain of Blessing in the entirety when you're building this out. And I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. So pillage attempt goes up. Let's go ahead and build up another energy tower. We could build a couple different ones, but again, we're looking to get these buildings up as fast as possible. Even here, we get a free prayer flower upgrade in addition to a diamond upgrade, which if we can roll, oh, we didn't. There is a level 10. Now, level 10 is the game changer. This is when it does level up. And you notice right here, yield +5 grants 1 new stack per hour, up to 8 stacks of the resource buildings. Definitely want to build them up in the entirety. And like I said earlier, we can upgrade these buildings as well, making it a big difference. Now, when these get to 10, you can actually overlap the buildings, which again is pretty cool to see. Diamond Mine goes to 10. That again is another very big upgrade. And there we go. So we hit here. This, we don't have an upgrade of anything. So this is going to be my red flower like we were talking about, the crimson flower. Now, one thing also to note with these, you'll notice right here, cannot stack the effects. If you're building a ton of flowers, you can build a lot, but the effects do not stack, which again can be a little bit detrimental because you won't have the ability to actually stack all of those. And there we go. So we'll level up the Poe exchange a little bit higher. Boom, going around getting this one. So this, of course, is going to level up our buildings a little bit further. The morale went up just a little bit by gaining more levels. Diamond mine goes to 11. Red flower goes to 2. And I think that's all of these. So again, if you're really looking at this and you want to maximize what you're doing in here, we can modify these buildings. And I can take like a level 9, drop it here. The 9 is going to go to 11. Even here, diamond mine or Poe coins, we can move this one. When I get another 2 levels on here, I could level up this one, but I can also go here, and there we go. So we are maximizing the building. So looking at what we have right here, let's save it. So looking at the energy towers that we have right here, down here, and this one over here is giving us +2 levels to the labyrinth, +2 levels to the Poe coin, +2 levels to our diamond mine, +2 levels to the essence mine, and of course, +2 levels for the fountain of blessing. This is going to allow me to essentially build this up as much as possible. Now, before you do more rolls, you're going to have to move these back to their original locations. That way you can level them up like we've seen before. But overall, this is going to stack a lot of loot in here. Now, you also do get loot out of here, which is, again, is pretty cool. It's free items you're getting out of here. Resource overview, as you can see, gotten a couple thousand, 4,300 labyrinth tokens. That is really, really cool. Now, pillage, of course, we could go attack other players. Not going to do it right now. I'm not really too worried about it. But overall, this will stack it up pretty well for the resources. So, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. There have been so many changes to the Isle of Gold. Definitely wanted to go ahead and cover it. But let me know what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.